Did you get my email, Carl?
We're just going live on YouTube, Councillor
right,
Parker.
okay, sorry.
We are now live on YouTube, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk. Good evening, members. Good evening, Mrs. Smallcombe, Town Clerk, and welcome to this Town Council meeting on Tuesday, the 3rd of November. I'm Councillor Anne Johnson, Mayor of Tavistock Town Council. I will now ask members present to indicate by physical show of hands that they can hear proceedings. Could we show by hands you can hear me, please? Thank you. I think that's everybody who's present. Thank you. For any joining by audio link, I will come to you shortly. Do we have any by audio link, Town Clerk? Not at the moment.
No.
We will now take a roll call of councillors present. Mrs. Smallcombe, can you take the roll call, please?
Yes, of course. Councillor Miss Crawford.
Yes, I'm here.
Councillor Ellis.
Yes, I'm here.
No Councillor Mrs. Ewing's at present. Councillor Fay.
Yes, I'm here.
Councillor Hutton.
Yes, I'm here.
The Mayor.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
I can't see Councillor Lewis. Councillor Mrs. Mann, I can see. Councillor Mrs. Parker.
Yes, I'm here.
Councillor Parker.
I'm here.
Councillor Barry Smith.
I'm here.
Councillor Harry Smith. Councillor Pete Squire.
Yes, I'm here. I can hardly hear you.
Sorry, Mr. Smallcombe, could you be a bit closer, please, to the speaker?
Can't see Councillor Venning. Councillor Ward.
Yes, I'm here.
And Councillor Williamson.
Councillor Venning is just joining, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry I missed the
Good evening,
meeting.
Councillor.
What about it?
Welcome to tonight's meeting. Thank you. Councillors and officers are asked to ensure that they have included their name against their thumbnail video so they can be clearly identified by viewers. May I take this opportunity to remind councillors that, subject to certain conditions, standing orders provide for speaking once on each item on the agenda. Or to physically raise their hand to make sure that I can see that they wish to speak, or they can message the Town Clerk or the assistant to the Town Clerk. The quorum for this council is 6 in number. May I remind councillors and the public that the documents for this meeting are available on the council website. Please note that members are asked not to use the shared documents facility in this meeting. In addition, may I remind you all to stay muted until called to speak and to unmute once you have spoken. When I call you to speak, I will state your name. In the interests of transparency, try not to use the comments facility to communicate during the meeting other than one with myself in the open forum. In no circumstances should it be used for private discussions. Voting will either be by assent of the members or by roll call vote. For a roll call, members are asked to state either for, against, or abstain when asked. If a councillor declares an interest, they will temporarily be removed from the meeting until the matter has been resolved and then readmitted. There will be a brief adjournment of 10 minutes to enable councillors to log back in for the confidential partings. Thank you very much. We now come to the start of the meeting. Item 1, apologies. To receive any apologies for absence, we've had one from Councillor Moody. Anybody else, Town Clerk?
That's the only one that we've received, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Item 2, declarations of interest. To receive disclosures of unregistered other interest from councillors on matters to be considered at the meeting. The disclosure shall include the nature of the interest. If a member becomes aware during the course of a meeting of an interest that has not been disclosed under this item, they must immediately disclose it. Under the Code of Conduct, councillors with an interest, whether or not it is a disclosable pecuniary interest or other interest, must leave the room for the duration of consideration of the item to which the interest relates. We move on to item 3, minutes of the council meeting. To confirm the minutes of the meeting of Tavistock Town Council held on Tuesday the 15th of September 2020, which were enclosed with the papers for this meeting.
Move that they're a correct record, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for those? Thank you. Those in favour, please show. Thank you. I will call in and sign those at some stage, probably on Thursday, I think, Town Clerk. B, matters arising. Were there any matters arising from those minutes? Right, thank you. Item 4, public representations and questions. To receive any written representations or previously submitted questions from members of the public in attendance. And we have had none submitted for this meeting. Is that correct, Town Clerk? Yeah.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Items requiring a decision. Item 5, budget and policy. To consider the minutes of the meeting of the Budget and Policy Committee held on Tuesday, the 20th of October, 2020. Mrs. Parker, please to present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will take the minutes in order. 99, apologies for absence. 100, confirmation of minutes. 101, declarations of interest. Then items for recommendation to council. Item 102, budget preparation and precept setting for 21-22. Budget and policy recommend that the council adopt and endorse the report and the associated principles to be applied in the development of the draft 21-22 budget proposal and associated precept, including that the determination of the 21-22 budget be deferred until the council meeting scheduled to be held on the 26th of January 2021.
Thank you. So we have a recommendation. Do we have a seconder for that recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Hutton. Open it up for debate. Anybody have any questions, comments they wish to make? Right, we'll put it to the vote then. We have a recommendation which has been seconded. Those in favour, please show. Thank you. Those against? Any abstentions? Thank you. I can't see, there's one or two of you, I can't see if you're voting. So can you make sure next time that you put your hands up? That was definitely most people voted for that. So that's carried. Thank you. Councillor Mr. Parker, please.
Agenda item 103.
Just before you go, I don't know whether Councillor Smith is frozen or if he has his hand up, Madam Mayor. Sorry.
Councillor Smith, is that Barry or Councillor Harry Smith? Do either of you wish to speak? No, thank you. Mrs. Parker.
Item 103, Commercial and Community Service Plan 2020-21. Budget and Policy recommend that the Council endorse and adopt the Commercial and Community Service Improvement Plan 2020-21.
Thank you. So we've got a recommendation. Do we have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Smith. Open it up for debate. Anybody have any comments or questions they wish to make? Councillor Parker.
Yes, is there any further news on Betsy Grimble's tower, Town Clerk? Oh, sorry, the General Manager, isn't it? Which one?
General Manager, I think.
Sorry.
Not at this stage, no.
Thank you. I'm sure if we get any further information, we will be informed. Thank you. So we have a recommendation which has been seconded. We've had a question. Any other further questions? We'll put that to the vote then, please. Those in favour, please show. Thank you. And Right, any against, please? Abstentions? Right, that's carried, thank you. Councillor Mrs Parker, please.
Item 104, Interpretation Board wording. This was a matter that was referred back to Budget and Policy by the Council, and the recommendation from Budget and Policy is that the Council accept and endorse option 2 out of the 5 options as listed in the report. Namely, in 2020, following a campaign to remove this statue of Sir Francis Drake, the Town Council, in partnership with Tavistock Heritage Trust, decided to provide some of the missing information on his life.
Thank you. So we have a recommendation. Somebody going to second that, please? Thank you, Councillor Mann. Open that up for debate. Any questions? Councillor Parker? You're muted, Councillor Parker.
Yeah, a genuine question. It's just I note that Councillor Williamson asked that it be recorded that he abstained from voting, and I just wondered, is there something that Councillor Williamson disagrees with the wording, or is there another reason?
Councillor Williamson, do you wish to answer that? You're on mute, Councillor Williamson.
I'm abstained at that vote. I had my comments in the discussion. I don't intend to go over old ground. We need to move on, and the council is going to make a decision on that. I'll respect that decision.
Oh, okay, right, fine.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Right, thank you. I'll put that to the vote. Then those in favour, please show. Thank you. Those against? Abstentions? Right, thank you. Councillor Mrs Parker.
Item circulated for information only. Item 105, Townscape Heritage Initiative Scheme Evaluation Report. Item 106, Pannier Market Update. Item 107, Interpretation Board Content. This is the content provided by Tavistock Heritage Trust.
Right, thank you, Councillor Mrs Parker. I think that's all of the part 1 of those minutes. We'll take part 2 in the confidential section of the meeting later. So thank you very much for that. Move back to General Finance. A schedule of payments to consider and endorse the monthly accounts as at 31st of August and 30th of September. The schedule was available on the website, and I think it was also emailed to members as well. So if anybody did have any questions, I hope they've sent them into the office. If there's never any problem if you do send them in, we always get very good responses to any questions that are asked. So do I encourage you to do that if you have any questions about anything. So can we just note those then? Thank you. Move on then to budget monitoring report.
Madam Mayor,
Sorry.
Madam Mayor, I had my hand up.
Sorry, Councillor Parker.
I had my hand up to ask a question of the
Sorry,
Town
yes,
Clerk.
please, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, it's just that some months ago, we decided, I mean, there are 22 pages of ledger payments with the papers this month. Some months ago, we decided that it wasn't necessary to circulate all those papers, but simply to refer to them being available on the website. And I wonder if we've changed policy in the meantime.
You shouldn't have, sorry, the reception's very bad here. You shouldn't have received a paper copy. The practice now for payments is that they are solely posted on the website. If you've received, I don't know, I'm just looking at members generally. Have you received a paper copy of payments as opposed to the budget monitoring report? Because
No.
In that
if
case,
you have,
In that case, I apologise. I'm in the privilege. I don't get a paper copy. I only get them by email. So I assumed that everybody had got them. My apologies.
Thank you. Any other further questions before we move on to budget monitoring? Okay. B, budget monitoring, to consider and endorse the budget monitoring report to the 30th of September 2020. I know that the town clerk and the financial administrator had some questions which have been answered. Any further questions? Councillor Mrs. Parker?
Yes, cost code 1074 refers to government grants 35,636, furlough and town reopening. This includes, I assume, the 25k from West Devon?
It will do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's money that the West Devon administered that came from the government.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions? Right, can we note that report? Thank you. Item 7, Development Management and Licensing Committee, to receive and consider the minutes of the meeting of Development Management and Licensing Committee held on, firstly, the 22nd of September. Councillor Ward, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you will see, your committee has been rather busy in the last month or so. So with your permission, rather than itemising every single agenda number, I will summarise them and direct members to the issues that I think are particularly relevant. So we begin with the meeting of the 22nd of September, minutes 80 to 88. And could I draw your attention to minutes 84, town planning issues, A, West Devon Borough Council licensing policy consultation. The borough has to go through a consultation process on its licensing policy every few years, and this has now come round. And you will note at the foot of the page that we resolved that the draft policy be supported and welcomed, and this decision to be submitted to the licensing authority, which I believe it has been. Then if I could take 84B, report of the chairman of the committee was received and considered. This relates to an appeal against the borough's refusal of planning consent for the development at a site adjacent to a property known as Hazley on Butcher Park Hill. This is adjacent to the southern end of the the allotments, and adjacent to a quarry. The chairman, me, was charged with drafting a submission to the planning inspector, which I duly did, and with the approval of members of the committee, that went forward. Then C, the committee considered the consultation document, the Tavistock Conservation Area Boundary, Appraisal and Management Plan. This has been a long time in the gestation and hasn't really been delivered yet. Just going back to my medical roots. But we put together a preliminary consultation response which sought some clarification, but also made a number of points. And that preliminary response, which was drafted very kindly for us by the town clerk, was shared with the heritage officer. However, more about that shortly. And then if I could draw your attention to minute 87B, the usual recommendation, this relates to new planning applications, that the views of the town council as listed in Appendix B be passed to the local planning authority for consideration.
Thank you. So we have a number of recommendations there, which I'm happy to second for those minutes. Any comments or questions to the chairman of DMNL, please? Right, those in favour, please show. Thank you. So those are passed. Thank you. Councillor Ward, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now come to the minutes of the meeting of the 13th of October 2020. These are minutes numbers 88 to 98. And if I could draw your attention to minute 94, which should be taken together with minute 97. This is urgent business brought forward at the discretion of the chairman, and it relates to the government's white paper Planning for the Future, which is a consultation document, but essentially proposes a very radical change to the way the planning process works and planning applications are processed. A number of members of this council had attended a training seminar organised by the Devon Association of Local Councils, which covered a number of issues related to planning, some changes which had already been enacted or subsequently have been enacted. However, there was a feeling that the white paper itself wasn't adequately covered in that training session. And very kindly, Councillor Graham Parker offered to organise a training session open to all members of council. And if I refer you to minute 97, it was resolved that a briefing session would take place on Thursday, the 22nd of October, to which all town councillors would be encouraged to attend. And that briefing session duly took place. And I think certainly I found it very helpful, and hopefully other members did as well.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Ward. Sorry, does somebody else wish to speak? Can't somebody?
No.
Okay, so we have those minutes before us. I will second them. Those in favour, please show. Thank you. Move on, please, Councillor Ward.
Okay. So the next one then is the meeting of the 22nd of October. And this was a special meeting of the Development Management and Licensing Committee. And I refer you to minutes 113 to 117. This meeting followed on the briefing session that I just mentioned regarding the white paper. And during the course of this, we allied ourselves with the submission already made by the Devon Association of Local Councils, but we felt it was important that we identify any particular issues that we thought related specifically to the town, to Tavistock, and to make a submission that highlighted those. And after a lengthy discussion, it was resolved that authority be delegated to the assistant to the town clerk in consultation with the chairman, vice chairman and mayor to submit a consultation response on behalf of the council. That was duly done. I drafted the response. It went to the vice chairman and to the mayor for agreement and tweaking, and then was passed to the assistant to the town clerk and has been duly submitted. I think that covers that meeting, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So I guess we still need to treat them as a normal minute. So I will second those minutes. Any further questions on them? Right, those in favour, please show. Thank you, that's carried.
Thank you,
finally,
Madam.
Councillor Ward.
And then finally, the meeting of the 2nd of November, i.e. yesterday, minutes 118 to 126. The only issue, just to flag up, minute 122, we had a licensing application relating to premises in the Plymouth Road Industrial Estate, where there was a wish to open a retail area for wine tastings and educational events, and for the retail sale for consumption off the premises. And your committee was happy with the application and saw no reason to make a comment on the licensing elements of that. That only leaves the recommendation at 125B relating to new planning applications, where we recommended that the views of the Town Council as listed in Appendix B be passed to the local planning authority for consideration.
Thank you. I will second those minutes. Any questions to Councillor Ward on them? Those in favour, please show. Right, thank you. It's been a very busy time for development management and licensing. Can I thank particularly Councillor Ward, who has guided us through what have been some quite difficult meetings, and also to Councillor Parker, who's offered advice and guidance. And I know he's been working with DALC as well. So thank you very much. And to all the members, because I think everybody's been fully engaged on DMNL in what's going on. So it's been a very productive time, I would say. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We now move on to items circulated for information only. 8 service reports. To receive for information the following service report: General Manager, which has been received. Mr. Southall, can I first of all thank you for your report, which is nice and succinct. Well done on dealing with the budgetary challenges. I know it's been extremely challenging, and you've done the council well for that. So hopefully so far, and hopefully it will continue. So thank you for that. Did you wish to give us an update at all, General Manager, on the lockdown 2 situation at this stage, please?
In relation to the 2 capital projects, from discussions I've had early doors with RM builders, it's reasonably difficult to assess whether there's going to be any significant impact with regards to availability of subcontractors, etc. At this stage, discussions we've had, deliveries, we've just had a significant delivery in relation to lime plaster, which was one of the risk items for the courtroom. So that's a very good positive in relation to that project. We are not currently, touch wood, foreseeing any significant impacts in relation to deliveries which will significantly affect the programmes which I've identified in my current report. Due to the lockdown, the unknowns will primarily relate to if there are any issues with regards to RM builders, subcontractors, more specifically dormer in relation to the front entrance doors, and also in relation to the lift companies for the installation of the lifts. I think those are the 2 main risk items within the contract at this stage, but we haven't had any indications currently that is going to be a problem.
Right, thank you. Do we have any questions to the General Manager, or any comments anybody wishes to make about his report? Councillor Harry Smith, please.
Yeah, I just want to make the comment, having looked round the sites again today, that the way that the work is sort of carried through from starting from the memorial end, and today having seen the car parking spaces 12 to 19 clearly indicated, and knowing that within the next few days we're going to have a surface on them, I think it's something which shows the public like the intention, if you like, for the whole of the site, because you'll have the grassed area and the first set of parking bays finished, or probably by end of next week. So it's a good advert for what the rest of the car park site is actually going to look like. And now that all of the cobbles have been taken off of there, it's enabling RM builders to move across from that side and start on the next set of car parking spaces, 20 to 24, which is really good. So within a very short period of time, we should see 2 sets of car parking spaces plus the path on the far end by the memorial, which is really good.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Any other comments or questions to the General Manager? So can I thank the general manager?
If you want, I'll just follow on in relation to the other two service reports to provide a bit of an update in relation to the pannier market. Obviously, with the new national lockdowns, we are working towards the pannier market closing as of Thursday and Butchers Hall. We have arranged an additional trading day tomorrow, Wednesday, for the pannier market, for Butchers Hall as well, which wasn't scheduled in. From our perspective, we're now engaging with traders to find out which traders who fall under the essential businesses list, which is quite difficult to assess considering it hasn't yet been published in full, who may wish to continue trading during that period of lockdown. If we get a number of traders which want to take up that opportunity, then we are considering options in relation to the use of Butchers Hall to relocate those traders in relation to the essential goods, and also accommodating traders on Bedford Square for the period. One of the other elements that Town Clerk's been in discussion with bids is with the possibility of the click and collect option for Butchers Hall as well, which was mooted at the weekend. Obviously, from our perspective, we are happy to work in partnership with bids, and I'm sure that's an option if it's a runner in relation to what bid want to take forward, that we can support in partnership with either Butchers Hall or potentially other options like free East End stores, etc., for the duration of this this current lockdown. So that's probably where we're at in relation to activities in and around the pannier market at this stage. But it's very much and also a watching brief, as it was last time, in regards to being able to respond on a weekly stroke daily basis almost with regards to what we might need to do.
Yes, these are extremely challenging times for us all, most particularly for our staff who are having to deal on an hourly basis with all that's going on. So my thanks to them for all the efforts that they're putting through. I know the general manager was looking at it Saturday night to start with and trying to unpick what was going on. So thank you for that. If we move on there though, so thank you for your report, General Manager. The Town Hall, Butchers Hall and Works Department report.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I think.
Councillor Crawford. Yeah.
Thank you. I just had a quick query for the General Manager. Is the farmers market able to operate during this period, or will that be put into Butchers Hall?
In relation to the farmers market, it depends whether their individual stalls fall under the essential category or not, in regards to you know, what individual traders they have. Obviously, from our perspective, we would look to encourage all trading that is able to continue trading in relation to the essential category, but until that's fully published, it's a little bit challenging to actually know where we stand or what we can actually deliver and support.
Most of the wares that they sell at the farmers market are food, so my personal view is I would think that a lot of them would fall within the essential category, but we'll have to wait for the guidelines to come out. Any other questions to the General Manager? Right, so now we move on to the Town Hall, Butchers Hall and Works Department. Do we have any questions on that report? Councillor Harry Smith, please.
Yeah, I assume that the list of events on page 2 will alter somewhat now that we've got a second lockdown.
Yes, I read these on Friday night, I think, before the announcement on Saturday evening, and I was saying I was just amazed how well that the Butchers Hall had been booked up, and it was our staff are to be commended on the effort they've made to get all those bookings in. but very sadly, many of them now will not happen. So it is a great shame.
From our perspective, the November bookings clearly aren't going to happen. We are working towards or taking the mindset that we will continue as best we can to deliver the Butchers Hall bookings in December, as previously planned, if the national or if restrictions allow. And also we fully intend, if we're able, to reopen the pannier market post that period of the 2nd of December, with trading days which were previously planned for a minimum of 5 days, if not considering a 6-day trading period up to Christmas. So that's our intended approach, dependent on what we're able to actually achieve.
Thank you, General Manager. Councillor Parker, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I ask the General Manager about the vandalism in the meadows? I mean, I know how much the vandalism to the sensory garden cost. That's in the order of £300 to £400. But I don't get out much, so I haven't actually been to the toddlers to the play park. Can you give us an indication of what scale of damage was done there, please, General Manager?
There were some issues in relation to damage to the Springer equipment this time round. I think it was in the region of around £400 for replacement item. And I think part of the challenge, obviously, is you need to sometimes look at this cumulatively rather than on an individual basis. And over a calendar or financial year, we probably are, being impacted in the thousands as opposed to the hundreds in relation to localized issues with vandalism, and also capacity challenges primarily relating to broken glass, etc., in and around certain areas within the meadows, which we've got the town hall and events manager who is in continual liaison with the police to ensure that there is a regular presence in and around the vicinity. And whenever we have any of these issues, we always, as a matter of course, report it to the police and get a crime number, so every single time it's logged.
Yeah, that's really important to do, because we need to make the police aware of what's going on down there. And it's such a great shame that so much of our budget has to be spent on dealing with these items rather than fresh and new things. So thank you for that report. Any other questions on the Town Hall, Butchers Hall and Works Department? Councillor Crawford?
Yes, I just, when you might not be able to answer this in this part, I just wondered if the issue with the water ingress had been resolved yet. In Butchers Hall, sorry.
I think we'll probably deal with that in part 2, will we?
Thank you. That's what
General Manager?
The answer is currently no, it hasn't been resolved. We're working towards its resolution, and I'll go into greater detail later on.
Thank you. Thanks.
Right, then we'll move on then to the pannier market report. Just as things were beginning to get back to normal, it's all stopping again, which is such a great shame for all our staff who've put so much time and effort, and the traders as well, who have really worked hard to get trading back to a pretty good level in the pannier market. But we are where we are, as they say, so great sadness. Any questions on this report or comments to make, please? No? Okay, right, so those was report of the assistant to the town clerk enclosed. First of all, thank you to Mrs. Smallacombe for this report. Any questions? Councillor Mrs. Parker?
Yes, Jan mentions a budget workshop on the 17th of November. Is this what the town clerk referred to in a previous meeting regarding a financial subcommittee or similar to work towards pulling the budget together.
Town Clerk, if you'd like to take that one, please.
17th of November will be a workshop for members to explore the issues associated in particular with income streams and the assumptions that they feel are appropriate to make going forwards to help inform the budget setting process.
Thank you.
Sorry, my internet connection is pretty poor tonight again. Any further questions on the reports of the assistant to the Town Clerk? Move on to item B, Town Hall and Markets Consultative Group meeting. We've got two sets of notes, first of the 13th of July and second of the 29th of September. Any comments or questions on those? I have a couple of comments when I can find them. The first meeting, item 8, so this was the meeting of the 29th of September. Under item 8, a member of the public brought up about advertising outside the just to clear that, sorry, thank you, outside the town hall, and referred to the consultative group who felt that things should remain as they are. Any member have any questions about that or comments, or are you happy for advertising outside the town hall to remain the same as it has been, to continue as it is? No comments? We're happy for it to remain? Yes? Jenna, yeah, thank oh, sorry, I've got a model here. The second meeting of the Town Hall and Markets, which is 29th of September, those present, Christine Rickard needs to be added representing the shops and the pannier market. These are just notes for members to be aware of what happened to that meeting. Does anybody have any questions from those notes of the consultative group? Councillor Squire.
I should say that I go to the I chair that group and go to particularly the pannier market nearly every open day that there is, and the relationship between users and council staff seem to be still very beneficial and positive, and I'm pleased to hear it. I take a particular interest in liaising with respective traders, and the appointment of Dottie King as the vice chair is a wholly beneficial addition. So I'm looking forward to that continuing to progress, and commendation to council staff for relating and managing in a particularly stressful and trying time. I think it's been noted by traders that people are doing their best to facilitate good working relationships. So I appreciate that for the managers and the staff that are involved. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Squire. Any further comments or questions on those two sets of notes? Right, we move on then to the Whitchurch Down Consultative Group. There are two amendments to these notes. The Tavistock Golf Club was not absent. Andrew Jarman was there representing Tavistock Golf Club. No, sorry, Sue Eastwood was there representing Tavistock Golf Club, and Andrew Jarman was there representing Tavistock Cricket Club. Any further questions or comments on these notes? Councillor Parker.
Thank you. Yeah, a question for the general manager about the situation with the golf club. The notes record that there's a separate meeting to be held with the golf club to discuss what's going on. For the benefit of other members, the area around the Pimple is one of my regular walking areas, and over the last few months I've noticed that the golf club has gradually crept away from the main course and is setting up practice greens between what used to be the edge of the course and the pimple, and virtually 2/3 of that area is now subject to flying golf balls for a large part of the day. I'd be interested to hear what the golf club has to say about that, because I'm coming to the conclusion it's actually needs planning permission. Just interested in what where the general manager is with that one.
General manager, please.
I shall update you the back end of next week.
I'll be in touch, Wayne.
Thank you. Any further questions? Right, thank you. So we move on then to item D, Tavistock Bid Company. A number of minutes of the meetings held between April and October, which are enclosed. Took quite a bit of reading. Councillor Williamson is our representative on the bid. Do you wish to make any comment about any of these notes, minutes?
I can do. I think a lot of the minutes have been overtaken by the situation that's evolved with coronavirus. We went through unlocking as a town, and there was a dynamic between the bid and the town council relating to barriers, etc., and that worked its way through. We're just about to go into another lockdown, and the bid is considering the impact on traders of that, and there's been internal discussion about some of the things the general manager's already mentioned, actually, and as usual, he is up to speed with what the town council should and could be doing. I've injected my comments to the board, not to this meeting, suggesting to the bid manager various things that she may approach the town council about once she's formed a view, and the board has supported that, as to what we should be doing as a bid. So it's very, I mean, we haven't got the full details on lockdown version 2.0 yet. The managers mentioned, the general managers mentioned, we don't quite know who can shut, who must shut and who must open. So when we get that, then the fully formed view of the bid will probably be delivered to the general manager and the other officers of the council as to what bid would like town council to do. Is that enough for the purposes of this meeting?
Unless anybody has any questions for you, Councillor Williamson. That's Councillor Mrs. Ewings, Councillor Mrs. Parker. Councillor Mrs. Ewings, please.
Councillor Williamson, could you let me know, or the council know, at the AGM who was appointed the chair, vice chair, etc., please?
I can comment that we had an AGM, and at face value, it was very smoothly run. Unfortunately, there was, I understand, a problem with quorum, and that wasn't realised until the meeting was closed, and therefore I think it's got to go round again. I understand that is the position today, that we've got to do it all again.
Right, thank you. Councillor Mrs. Parker, then Councillor Mrs. Mann.
Yes, in the minutes for the 16th of September, item 5, under coronavirus support, it says TTC has said that it has no identified use for the 5K it received, and so will pass it directly to bid. I'm just a bit puzzled by that statement.
Does the town clerk wish to comment on that, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yes, there were potentially two payments in relation to reopening of the town. The first payment, which we received and was used to fund signage and to fund barriers in connection with the town. As you know, there was an evolving dynamic in terms of what the bid members wished to be able to deliver going on from that. One of the things, or some of the things that they were wishing to deliver, were things more along the lines of promotional and effectively sort of gift card schemes and those sorts of areas, which are much harder technically for a local authority to be a party to promoting. So the conversation that took place was, in the event that there was that the bid company wished to make spend in those areas, and given they didn't wish there to be additional safeguarding in the forms of extra social distancing measures on the street, the things that required funding were things that would be harder for a local authority to do or to be able to justify at audit. It therefore made sense, if they wished to do those, to seek funding direct from the Borough Council from the monies that were available, if the Borough Council felt that it was appropriate for those to be funded through them. So essentially, it didn't cost us anything, but what it did was it redirected monies which otherwise would have been problematic for us to have directed in the way the bid company wished at that time.
So in effect, we didn't pass money to bid. It was just redirected direct from WDBC.
As far as I'm aware, and when I last checked, we did not receive the second £5,000 payment. That was one which I suggested both to them and to West Devon, if they wish to go down that route, that they might do so directly rather than through ourselves as intermediaries on this occasion.
Thank you.
Councillor Mrs Mann, next, please.
Yeah, just a question for Paul, who I can't see on my screen anymore. Williamson, is he still around? I just wanted to know whether they'd gotten the Tavistock gift card organised, and know that I'd seen some news about the Tavistock gift card coming out through bid and was sponsored by a few different organisations, and I wanted to know if we have that available.
Councillor Williamson, did you catch all of that?
No, I dropped out the meeting entirely, as has happened 3 times this evening, so I've missed the entire
Councillor Mann,
question you asked.
Councillor Mann, do you wish to repeat your question, or would you like me to ask it for you?
I just wanted to know about the gift card and whether or not that was going to be made available soon, and just to get some information about that.
I understand it's progressing well, and the finance for it is in place. It's commissioning, and I don't quite know where the boundaries of who can deliver it to the end user are. I think that's what's the bid manager's working on, and that's where she is at the moment. Where can you get this gift card from in our town?
Councillor Williamson, you're on mute.
Yeah, I did say something. Do you want me to repeat and have another go?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. The bid manager is working on how end users can access the gift card, and it's a question of boundaries, whether it's within the bid boundary or whether it's the whole town. And there are issues around that, because it's intended to promote independence and people on the high street, not the large multiples on the edge of town. And that's what she's working on.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further questions regarding the bid minutes, or any questions to Councillor Williamson as our bid representative? Right, thank you. We move on then to West Devon Borough Council report, to receive the report of West Devon Borough Council from Councillor Spettigue, which has been received and is in your papers. Under the climate change and biodiversity emergency, Councillor Spettigue says that Drew Powell and Adam Williams from West Devon Borough Council would be happy to come to Tavistock Town Council directly and provide an update as to their progress. Drew, Adam is the Climate Change and Biodiversity Officer at the Borough Council. Could I suggest that this is possibly something they could come and address the Sustainability and Environment Group, with all members of council being invited to attend that meeting? I'm not sure who was first, Councillor Parker, then Councillor Mrs Ewing, please.
I've got two computers going and I pressed the wrong button on the wrong one. Yeah, I've got a number of comments on and suggestions about the report. So would it be appropriate for Councillor Ewings to go first?
Very appropriate, because I've just got a pain in my arm and I was just trying to stretch out in my elbow, just there. Sorry.
Do you have a question then, Councillor Ewings? Or
No, sorry, I was just trying to sort out my elbow.
In that case, Madam Mayor, in that case, yeah. First of all, I think this is a really good report from James Pettigrew, and I think it's as good as the one we had from Steve Hipsey, I think a month ago. It's a shame that the councillors can't join us because a discussion on some of these items would be really helpful. I absolutely agree with your suggestion, Madam Mayor, and I think that would be a good thing to do. But it's the paragraph above that is my first observation, where it says that in the areas of infrastructure and industry, Drew Powell believes that these are areas in which West Devon have very limited influence. Now, I mean, I couldn't disagree with that more. We've just gone through the Plymouth Road application where infrastructure, i.e. education and public transport, West Devon had every opportunity to make a difference and somehow hasn't managed to. In the field of employment, they have got the opportunity to achieve at least 8,500 square metres of employment in town and to secure the private development of another 10,000 square metres. So I think an observation back to West Devon to the effect that I think they underplay their role and their potential for influencing infrastructure in this town, and that came through on Plymouth Road. So that's my observation on the first one. Shall I pause there because I've got observations on one or two other items as well.
Does anybody have any further comments to make on that first observation? Councillor Crawford?
Yes, I mean, I read that as being about climate change improvements rather than general industry and general infrastructure, which is where there are limitations without further government backing. So that's just my point. That's how I read it. You might have read it differently.
If it's ambiguous, I agree. I see how you could read that. Yes, maybe
Okay.
that will come clear at the briefing then.
Let's hope so. Perhaps that's one of the things that we do need to at the briefing to make absolutely sure of, I think.
Indeed.
Okay, thank you. Next point, Councillor Parker.
The next point is on Spring Hill. I know one or two members who have discussed this with me and vice versa. I've got the same concern, which is that it's only a month ago that we received a draft conservation area management plan that showed these buildings on Spring Hill as being important, positive buildings in a World Heritage Site and a conservation area. And a month later, we have a proposal clearly emerging from West Devon to demolish them because the current buildings are not suitable or viable for the use that's being proposed. My early comment on this is that that's absolutely the classic approach that a developer would take, and I rather hope that West Devon were going to be better than this. If that building is not suitable for the use that they're proposing, then it seems to me that they should be looking for somewhere else to put that use. And I would have said to Councillor Pettigrew that I have a bad feeling that they're making a mistake. They're about to make a mistake on Spring Hill. Now that's a personal view. I don't expect the council to support it this afternoon. I'm just this evening rather. I'm just flagging that up as a real concern that I've got.
Okay, thank you.
On the next item, which is the Plymouth Road housing development, I don't know whether it has, we have been formally informed, but the three items that are at the bullet point, the primary school, the number 89 bus and the employment workspace, were very clearly laid out in the report, and the position that this town council has held on all three of them was supported by the officer. That a mistake has been made on the primary school. It is clear that nobody really considered the continued funding for the 89 bus, and that there is a real mistake was made on the employment floor space. But that none of those issues were discussed at the last development management and licensing committee of West Devon, because it appears that Baker Estates, who own or control the site next door, have threatened legal action related to one or all of those issues. So the aim is to have those issues, and I think those are the issues that are most relevant to the town of Tavistock and to this town council. They're due to be discussed at the next DM&L committee of West Devon. So flagging that one up, it may be of real interest to town councillors to listen and attend that committee. And that's my last point, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Do you happen to know when that meeting is?
Sorry, I should have anticipated that question. No, I don't, sorry.
Okay, I can look that up. That's fine. It's usually fairly well broadcast. I usually try and manage to listen to them.
Yeah.
It's quite a good thing to do when you do some cooking, if you're listening to them. Okay, right. It's fine.
Councillor Ellis, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, yeah, Councillor Ellis, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's a question for Councillor Mrs. Ewings, with her double hat in place, with regard to the 3 weekly bin collections. Although I welcome the trial being extended, are West Devon planning to move it to, shall I say, more populated areas of families and not just retired couples for a fairer trial? Because quite frankly, if they go ahead with 3 weekly collections on a permanent basis, it's going to be a disaster for those of us with young families and for the residents that live in the converted buildings that have been converted to flats and just don't have the space to store 3 weeks worth of domestic rubbish.
Okay, Councillor Mrs. Ewing, you're able to make a comment on that, please?
No, in a word. Councillor Ellis, I've only recently been appointed to the Waste Committee. I think Councillor Spettigue actually rang the individual officer because this matter hasn't come up for a while. So I think he rang for a progress report and has put it in here. I understand where you're coming from. And I know the amounts of black sacks that sort of congregate at the end of Fitsford and at Westbridge Cottages. So I don't know where it's going. I know there are some populated areas with families that have been chosen. It isn't just as you describe. I think there's some over in the Oakhampton area and things, because it was done all over West Devon, in varying pockets. So it wasn't just done in Tavi. But what I will say is I can try and find out more for you about it. And I think as the evidence comes forward, people will be looking more at it. I think if people were having a lot of nappies and incontinence, etc., those waste because incontinence pads, etc., aren't collected anymore by the company that used to. You have to dispose of them yourself. I think there may be something around that, but I'm not entirely sure. So I don't want to give you a false story. So I will find out some more for you and let you know. Is that okay, James?
Yes, thank you very much for that. I mean, one of my biggest concerns is those that are living in flats in Tavistock, in some of the converted buildings or buildings that were built back when we had weekly collections and no recycling. And the provision they've got there to store recycling boxes is non-existent, let alone 2 weeks worth of rubbish. And if it extends to 3, it's just going to be terrible for those that are living in the flats and apartments in the town.
I totally agree with you there. From when I lived in one of our properties, 9A Duke Street, as an upstairs flat, there was nowhere for boxes, nowhere for rubbish. So I totally agree with your concerns. And, you know, it will be difficult for people in those sort of accommodations, particularly ones, as you say, that were converted quite a while ago, that were for black bag only, no recycling. It's the boxes, the bags and the paraphernalia that goes with recycling that does make it difficult. But I do remember from an early meeting about this, that there was going to be something different for people in flats and converted, you know, above shops, etc. So I can find out more, you know, with regard to that for you.
Thank you, Councillor Ewings. I remember bringing this matter up at a Southern Links meeting. It was quite a while ago when it was first talked about. And that's in the trial to make sure that all
keep freezing, Anne.
That's yeah, sorry, I can't do anything about it. I'm gonna have to go down to, I think.
And if you turn off your video, sometimes I find that then I'm able to hear and speak better.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. At a Southern Links meeting, I raised this as an issue and was reassured that there would be a good mix in the trial of housing types and sizes.
From what I understand,
Councillor Parker had. Councillor Parker, do you have any further questions? Had you finished all your questions?
Yes, I had, Madam Mayor. Finished.
Right. Any further questions on this excellent report from Councillor Spetague? People wishing to speak. Right, thank you very much. We now move on to the County Councillor report. Councillor Mrs. Debo. COVID-19, highways, education, recycling, and some of the help she's been able to give with the locality fund, which comes from Devon Council. Any comments or questions on this, or just note it? Anybody wish to speak?
We should just note it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harry Smith. We move on then to item G, Superlinks Committee, notes of the meeting held on the 17th September. Minutes needed. I was definitely at that meeting, as I mentioned at the end of the meeting, having said something, but I'm not in the list of who attended. This was a meeting that was done by Zoom, I think it was Teams or whatever else to do it by. Councillor Mrs. Ewing.
Just to say, like you, Madam Mayor, I was at that meeting, but I'm not on the attendees list.
Councillor Parker.
One observation, Madam Mayor. I think on the, I think it's on the second page, about halfway down, the explanation for the breaking up of the broadband and the Wi-Fi signal this evening is there, that we're in the bottom 5% in the country. But more seriously, further on, there's a comment from Councillor Lamb of Beer Ferrers Council. That came to me kind of very circuitously. Can I am the DELT rep for the area, and if things like this come up at Superlink, if you were to just refer them back to me, I can follow them up a lot quicker. I am following that one up now, and I'm like you. I'm not sure why Beerferrers haven't been supported more by DELC, and I'm chasing that one up.
Thank you, Councillor Parker, for that. Any further questions or comments on these Superlink minutes? I'll feed back the your non. You were representing the Borough Council at that meeting, weren't you?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Update to receive any additional oral update in connection with Tavistock Townscape Heritage Initiative Scheme or the Guildway Gateway Centre project. Town Clerk, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The General Manager has already given an update in relation to the sort of capital project progress, just to let members know that we continue in discussions with National Lottery Heritage Fund with a view to seeking an uplift in grant to support us in relation to additional COVID costs. Nothing more to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions to the Town Clerk? Item I, to receive any update from or questions council serving on other outside bodies in connection with the work of those bodies. Does anybody have an update on anything? Councillor Mrs. Mann, Councillor Squire, Councillor Parker. Councillor Mrs. Mann first, please.
This is just to update on Tavistock Locals Help. Obviously, because we're going back into lockdown, we've reopened our phone number again, which is 0800 046 5531. We're hoping that we're not going to have to be doing the same levels of delivery that we did during the first lockdown, because so many businesses and people have adapted and there's a lot more freedom now. But we will be doing a once a week prescription run and supporting people who are needing any additional help. So the town council had sponsored the phone line, so there could be some additional costs there, although most of the phone charges in the end we were able to fund through some other grants that we received during the lockdown, so that was good. And that second part of that is that the trust, which is a charitable incorporated organization, meaning it's a full charity that has risen out of that, is available to help if you've come across parishioners who've got a financial crisis that has arisen from COVID. They do not need to be experiencing poverty necessarily, they just need to be experiencing financial hardship. So if you know someone who is experiencing a sudden financial hardship as a result of either like losing a job or something of that sort, they can apply through Citizens Advice and get referred through for a grant through the Tavistock Locals Help Trust, which is a separate body.
And Councillor Squire next, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just for the council's information, being a founding trustee of West Devon Safe Haven, the council, through the good offices of our assistant clerk, Jan Smollicum, has facilitated a Syrian family being accommodated in council accommodation, or council-owned accommodation, I should say. We had the sad situation of a Syrian family being evicted from their accommodation, and the council had facilities which could accommodate this family, and that has taken place in this summer, and that has been a very satisfactory resolution of a very difficult problem. We support refugees in both Tavistock and Okehampton, and in Tavistock there are 3 families, and this family was the first to arrive 3 years ago. So much appreciation to the officers and staff involved in that happy resolution of a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Squire. Councillor Parker next, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick update on World Heritage issue. Councillor Ward, Chair of D&M Committee, referred to the Conservation Area Management Plan and further discussions. The World Heritage Partnership is leading a discussion that's with West Devon Borough Council about the Tavistock Conservation Area Management Plan a week tomorrow. Tavistock Town Council are represented there by Councillor Ward, and hopefully what will come out of that is a cooperative, collaborative approach to moving the plan forward and improving it, as I think we all want. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Parker. I was going to bring it up under urgent matters, but you've dealt with that, so thank you for that.
Sorry.
No, fine. As long as we cover it, that's what matters. Any further update from members? Councillor Barry Smith, Councillor Mrs Parker.
Barry, you're muted.
Councillor Barry. Sorry, we can't hear you, Councillor Barry Smith. We'll go to Councillor Mrs Parker first. If you can sort out your
Yes, just to tell Council that I've become a councillor advocate on the Office for the Police Commissioners Consultative Group, that they were calling for parish and town councillors to become councillor advocates on that scheme, and I will forward anything that I think should be disseminated further amongst you all for your interest and any of your groups or others' interest. There's currently a consultation going on online concerning road safety, and there is a meeting, an online meeting with the police commissioner later this month. So I urge you all to engage with that if you have particular concerns about road safety.
Thank you. I think the contact details have been forwarded by Councillor Mrs Sellis for that to all members. If anybody hasn't got them, I have. Councillor Barry Smith, are you ready to speak now? Afraid I can't hear you, Councillor Smith.
I think Barry Smith had this problem, Madam Mayor, last night as well, that he, for some reason, and he can't work out why, he can't manage to speak. So there's something wrong with his setup, I think.
Right, Councillor Smith, if you can't hear, if you aren't able to communicate to us, perhaps you could send us all an email to tell us what you were going to tell us about your group. Would that be okay? Okay, I'll have to try and overcome these things if we can. Do any members have feedback from the attendance at any training sessions? Councillor Crawford?
Yes, I attended an online meeting called Rebuilding Sustainable Communities. I was asked to forward any notes that I'd made from that meeting, which I did this afternoon to Jan. I don't know what's going to happen now, because obviously it's the sort of thing that would have been issued to us if we'd been in a physical setting. So I don't know if they'll be issued with any minutes from this meeting or not. Thank you.
Is it something that we could be emailed out to Paul for information?
Madam Mayor, if it helps, that's an item which the chairman of the Sustainability and Environment Working Group asked to be posted on the agenda for that particular meeting, and it's been distributed, so all members will have it with the agenda for that meeting.
Thank you. Anything else on this item of the agenda? Item 10, communications reports may be submitted by the town mayor. Councillor Crawford asked me to mention at this stage, she's been asked to support the national campaign Break charity. Perhaps Councillor Crawford, you could tell us a bit about that and make any decision tonight, because it wasn't in time for the agenda, but the council is broadly supportive of the campaign, and there are one or two things we might be able to do.
Yes, I was.
Councillor Crawford, please.
Thank you. Sorry. I was asked by Kit Harbuttle from the Tavistock Travel Action Group, the transition group, if we would support this year's campaign, which has got the slogan "No Need to Speed." She wondered if we could officially, as a council, support that on our website and perhaps use that slogan as an email footer. I don't know if that's possible. She also wants to use some funds that she has, I believe, I do need to check that out and clarify that, so that we can put stickers on things like waste bins in car parks. And West Devon Borough Council, I know, would be responsible for that. There was one, she was talking about a bin in Bedford Square. It's just about reminding people. And I think, you know, over the last lockdown, because of the lower level of traffic, there was quite a lot of speeding. And I still think that there are times when some of the traffic is going too fast. So it's really important, I think, that we support that. So just wondered if we had any, I was asking for some official council support for that, really. Thank you.
Town Clerk, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you point out, although we can't make an official decision on this, if members are supportive of it, we can, of course, make available some space on the website to promote this and do a post on social media in relation to if the group wishes, and if council are supportive again, if the group wishes to put stickers up on town council land, I can see no difficulty with doing that, and no doubt if they have the consent of the borough council and the county council, who would be the lead authority as the highway authority, to do so on their land adjacent to the highway, there's the opportunity for them to do so there. I think what I would say is in relation to things like strap lines, clearly there would be a precedent issue there, and I would counsel careful thought being given to that, not because this is not necessarily a worthy cause, but because there are many worthy causes, and if the council wished to go down that route, it would have to consider what its policy position would be in terms of both national and local charities, organisations and groups, how long they might be able to have a strap line for, in what format, and how we would deal with competing issues and interests in relation to that. So I think that's a much bigger issue in terms of what there might be, but in terms of social media and the website, if councillors are happy that we indicate that we are supportive of it, then we can do something, and we can do that in short order. Thank you.
Town Clerk, views of members, please. Councillor Mrs. Mann.
I'm not familiar with the campaign. I don't really know what we're talking about, but putting stickers on a bunch of bins to me is not necessarily a way to encourage people to do very much of anything. So from an environmental standpoint, it's just a lot of plastic that then can get environmentally wasted, and I'm not keen on it unless there's some sort of data or if we get some information about what that's going to achieve.
Thank you. Councillor Mrs. Ewings.
I'm happy that we support, and have also been speaking to Kit and suggested to her that Leslie bring it to the meeting tonight as a town councillor. But I agree with Councillor Mann. I do think putting stickers on things for putting on stickers' sake is actually not a wise move. You know, instead of having stickers, why not have a banner across the square to notify that it's, you know, speed, you know, awareness sort of week or whatever that it is. And, you know, maybe that's more effective because it gets taken down and things like that. But I have to say, I do agree about stickers because they'll just, you know, just end up being torn off or whatever and just dumped. So I have to say, I do agree with that.
Anybody else comment for Hutton?
Yeah, and just again, I agree the same. I think I don't want bits of plastic stuck all over Tavistock, but I'm supportive of the idea. So let's put something on the website. Yes.
Any further comments? please? Councillor Crawford?
I wasn't envisaging them as plastic stickers. I was envisaging them more as the, I don't know how much plastic is in the ones that are on pavement on the road. It's just really about having a visible thing in a few prominent places. Wouldn't be all over the place, just in a few prominent places. But obviously I respect your views. So, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't catch all of that, but Councillor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The town clerk effectively asked us what our mood is, and it seems to me that we can tell him now that the mood is to be generally supportive of the campaign, but in particular that we will be supportive of placing appropriate words on the website. But at the moment, I mean, that's the way it goes, yeah.
Do you feel that's a clear enough steer for you, Town Clerk?
Sorry, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, that's fine. We will place reference to it on the website and on social media, and the minutes will reflect that the council was supportive of the principles. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We now come to the end of part one of the meeting. We move on to the exclusion of the press and the public. So this part of the meeting will now close. If you can, we can reconvene in about 10 minutes. I will try and get some better internet connection so I can be seen and heard. Hopefully my husband will have gone out so I can go downstairs. Okay. Anything else, Town Clerk? No?
Nothing, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So if you can log out and then log back in, please, in a few